Welcome to Chad Hates Carbs. Today we're going to go over a really simple recipe that will be used in the next couple of days because I'm going to turn these hard-boiled eggs, they're not hard-boiled yet, but we're going to hard-boil them, and then I'm going to make a couple of different recipes out of the hard-boiled eggs so that you can use this as kind of a basis for how to do it. It's not really complicated at all. It does take a little bit of time, but it's not too bad. So basically what you want to do is you want to get a pan, and in this case I've got one, or a pot. I've got one, the reason I'm using one this big is because I am going to try to hard boil more than, one serving worth of eggs. So basically you just gently place them inside of the pan, and then once you're done with that, the size of the pan really doesn't hurt that much in this case, because what we're going to do is we're only going to need to fill it up with water up to the point where the eggs are covered. So you're just going to cover that up with cold, and you want to do it with cold water. You don't want to do it with warm water because you want the eggs to very gradually heat. They always say cold water, and honestly, personally, I'm not really sure exactly why that is. Because obviously the amount of heat that you're going to get from a faucet is not going to really do anything other than, hey, guess what, we're going to heat up these eggs right now. So anyway, but the idea here is we want to bring this water to a boil. So you want to put the heat on high and let it get to it. And once this goes ahead and gets to a boil, we'll come back and take a look at them and see what we need to do next. Thanks. We can see buildup of bubbles on the eggs themselves now. Obviously it's smoking quite a bit, but it's not quite to what I would consider to be a boil. You really want to make sure that you've got lots of bubbling happening like throughout the water, because otherwise you might undercook your eggs, and I'd rather overcook them slightly than undercook them. So as you're watching, I guess you're not supposed to watch the pot, right, because it never boils. Anyway, as you're taking a look at it, you're going to see little bubbles that'll form on the eggs, on the surface of the eggs, and then they'll kind of roll off of the eggs, and then they'll get to the top. And right now it's still very small bubbles, but within a good, 30 seconds or a minute of when you start to see the little bubbles rolling off of the eggs, that means that you're really close to when the boil is actually going to occur. And of course I say that, and I'm talking this whole time, and it still hasn't turned over quite yet. And some of that probably is due to the fact that it is a larger container than what I'm used to, because the water, obviously there's significantly more water. And I did, for those of you that would count these, and I know that there's those of you out there that would count the number of eggs I put in here and the number of eggs I'm going to take out, I did put more eggs in this pan. So now that it's boiling, and it is actually boiling, we got big bubbles coming. So at this point what we're going to do is we're going to set the timer on, and we're going to boil them for 8 minutes, and we're going to come back once the boiling is done, and at that point then we'll get started with the next step. So I'll see you then. 8 minutes are up, and now we can go ahead and kill the heat, move these off, and we're just going to let them sit for a good 20 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and set the timer for that. And 20 minutes. And then we'll come back and finish them off once the 20 minutes are up. See you then. 20 minutes in, and we have some water that's still warm. So we're going to go ahead and dump this out very carefully, obviously. And we need to get cold water on these eggs. It's still plenty warm, as you can see from the smoke rising off of this. So we're going to go ahead and just run some cold water in here. Some people swear by ice water, and that's what I'm going to do because I figure that's probably a, oops, I'm still not used to the new refrigerator. I'm going to just to get the eggs cooled down nice and fast, for me to be able to peel them, because that's what we're going to do next. Yeah, it's plenty cool. So basically, this is the part that's the least fun, at least in my opinion, about hard boiling eggs, because you end up with some messy ones, kind of regardless of how you do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 2 bowls, because I'm going to make different recipes depending. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the beautiful ones in one bowl and the not beautiful ones in the other bowl, because when you make egg salad, it really doesn't matter how pretty it is. When you make deviled eggs, it really does. So basically, the easiest way to do this is you just drop the eggs to get them to crack, and then you hope that as you go to peel it off, that you can get a big chunk to come off all at once. And I'm always surprised, because there's always like some part of the egg that's going to fight you. Yeah. And sometimes if you go to the edges, it's going to work pretty well. Or, I mean, the tips of the egg. This one is not playing nice. But all you're doing is you're just taking the shell off, a little bit at a time, if it's sticking. Like this one right here, this egg is just, the shell is sticking to the egg. Adhering quite well. So, I'm going to try another one here. I'll come back to that one in a second. Let's try another one, see if we can get one to go any better. Okay, so this one, the interior is staying together, which means that you can kind of get underneath the eggshell. This is what I was kind of hoping I could show you. Something more like this, where as you're peeling it, the underneath, I don't know, there's a film a little bit underneath it, and as you're peeling it, it's going to come off and stay together, so you don't end up with teeny tiny little chunks of eggshell. So you can see this is very different than that first egg. And I think this is one of the reasons, I don't know this for sure, but I think this is one of the reasons they suggest the whole ice water thing, because I think that shock helps it. But there you go. That doesn't look horrible, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to call that a good one. I'm going to go ahead and drop some more ice in here. Because that second one was colder, so we're gonna see if making it even colder will help. Yeah, this one's definitely easier as well. So maybe that is a thing. Super scientific, I know. Maybe that is a thing. So at any rate, this is the way that you peel them. So again, it's really straightforward how to make hard-boiled eggs. You just put them in cold water, boil them, and then let them sit in boiling water for 8 minutes is what we did here. And then let them sit for 20 minutes to cool, and then dump the water out and put a little bit of ice in there. And see, that whole thing came off real easy. It's a little bit, it's got some chunks in there, but we're going to call that good. So anyway, that's the way that you do hard-boiled eggs. And in the next couple of days, we're going to come back with a couple of different recipes you can make from this. Probably do an egg salad and also deviled eggs, which is one of my favorite foods ever. So we'll see you then. Thanks for watching. After peeling a whole bunch of these eggs, what I've found is that there is a film right underneath the shell itself. If you can break that film, and then kind of get underneath that film, you can lift off large chunks of the eggshell. Now, I've tried recording me doing that multiple times now and it's failed ironically, on every one that I haven't filmed. Or no, it's failed on every one I've filmed and been exactly that way on every one I haven't. So I'm just going to keep doing this. But basically, like right now, I'm underneath the film and I'm able to get large chunks of egg off without it being like teeny tiny little pieces like that first one I tried to peel. So I do think that the ice works well. I would definitely recommend that because I think it helps with making it contract. Now, I pulled a big chunk off of that, and this is one of the ugly eggs. But you'll notice that the pieces that I'm getting off are way, way, way bigger because of this film that is coming off with the eggshell. And getting underneath that film is the secret. Now, that film will adhere to egg from time to time, and that's why you have some of these coming off with chunks. Like this one is kind of a mangled mess, but like right there, I just got like a big chunk of egg. So this one is one that I would definitely be using for egg salad, but I just wanted to say that because it makes it a little bit easier if you at least know what you're looking for. And like in this case, obviously this is just horrible looking, but in terms of the way that they look, I mean, that's one really bad one, and all the rest of these have come out pretty good. Now, I still have some of the ones that I've messed with before over here, but those I'm going to wait and do at the end. I still am not sure exactly about whether it's better to crack all the way around. It seems to me like what that does is make a lot smaller pieces, which then are harder to deal with. But then again, who knows? Who knows? I've only done this a few times. I mean, obviously I've helped my wife and my grandma and my mom when they made deviled eggs and stuff before. This is the first time I've ever tried to do it on camera. And normally, if you're making egg salad, it totally doesn't matter what it looks like. But anyway, when you're doing deviled eggs, you definitely want them to be prettier. But some of these eggs just are not helpful. So I would recommend, if you were going to make a recipe that involves it needing to look pretty, just plan on making about twice as many eggs as you need to, and then turn the ones that look crappy into egg salad, which I'll show in some future videos. So thanks for watching again, and have a good day.